Ready to dive into the world of public finance? We're tackling public finance accountants today, and let me tell you, RoleCatcher did not hold back.
It's a deep world, not as simple as some might think.
It's more than just, keeping spreadsheets organized.
Way more. This is like the heart of how government institutions function. They need money, right?
Right, to keep the lights on, fund those parks and libraries, everything.
Exactly. And it's the public finance accountant who makes sure that money is, managed properly, spent effectively. Think of it like they're the guardians of the treasury chest.
So not just counting the coins, but making sure they're being used wisely. That's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. And complex. We're talking navigating a maze of legislation. Ever heard of GASB pronouncements?
Can't say that I have.
Well, they dictate how governments report their finances. It can get very intricate.
So picture this. You're not just bouncing the books. You're basically the financial strategist for, say, the entire city's education department. What does that even look like day to day? Is it all stuffy offices and mountains and paperwork?
There's definitely some of that, sure. Spreadsheets, reports, you know the drill. But there's also this element of problem solving. You're analyzing budgets, looking for ways to maximize resources, making sure every dollar is working towards those goals, those essential services that people rely on.
Okay, so you're not just crunching numbers, you're thinking strategically.
Yeah.
But with great power comes, a lot of pressure. What's the trade-off? Why would someone choose this path?
Well, RoleCatcher doesn't sugarcoat it. There are definitely challenges, long hours, especially during certain times of the year, like tax season, and keeping up with those ever-changing regulations. Constant learning is a must.
Sounds intense. So what's the upside? What are the perks that make those challenges worth it?
Two big ones come to mind. First off, the earning potential. Governments need skilled people to handle their finances, and they're willing to compensate for that expertise.
Makes sense. You get what you pay for. And the other big one, job security.
You nailed it. Public sector jobs, especially in this field, tend to be very stable. People build entire careers in public finance.
So you've got potentially high earnings, job security, but also the pressure of managing public funds, those long hours. Sounds like a lot to weigh.
It is. But for the right person, someone who's passionate about public service, thrives in that kind of environment, it can be incredibly rewarding. It's quite a journey, actually. RoleCatcher breaks it down into stages. You start as a junior public finance accountant, fresh out of school, eager to make a difference.
Armed with textbooks and maybe a lucky calculator.
Pretty much. But you quickly learn that real-world experience is invaluable. At this stage, it's all about mastering the fundamentals. RoleCatcher emphasizes meticulous record-keeping, assisting senior accountants with things like budget management plans.
So it's like an apprenticeship, learning the ropes from the more seasoned professionals.
Exactly. And as you gain experience, you naturally progress to the intermediate level. This is where you start taking on more responsibility, managing tasks independently, even dabbling in financial forecasting. It's a real shift.
From following directions to making decisions, that's going to feel pretty empowering, but also a bit intimidating, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. There's this great quote from an intermediate accountant in RoleCatcher's Guide. They said, "I'm constantly researching and staying updated with the latest regulations." That really stuck with me. It highlights how continuous learning is vital in this field.
Makes sense. The rules of the game are always changing, so you got to stay sharp. What comes after you've conquered the intermediate level? Senior public finance accountant.
You got it. And that's where leadership skills come into play. You're not just managing yourself, you're guiding a team, developing strategic financial plans, advising senior management. The stakes get higher.
Talk about pressure. Advising, say, the city council on the financial feasibility of a new park. Those are big decisions with real impact.
And that's where those soft skills RoleCatcher mentioned become crucial. You need to communicate complex financial information clearly, think critically about those potential risks and rewards.
And if you excel at that, you might find yourself on the path to becoming the chief public finance accountant, the top dog.
The captain of the ship. RoleCatcher paints a picture of the chief as this strategic mastermind, responsible for the entire financial well-being of the institution.
From number cruncher to strategic mastermind, quite a career trajectory. So we've talked about the career path, but what about the skills? What does it really take to be successful in this line of work?
Well, a solid accounting foundation is a given, right? You got to know your debits from your credits. But RoleCatcher, they really emphasize something else. Soft skills.
Okay, interesting. So more than just being a numbers person.
Way more. Think about it. You're dealing with people, explaining budgets, Often to those who don't have that financial background, communication is key.
Right, because we're out of money. Doesn't quite cut it in a meeting with city officials.
Exactly. You have to explain the why behind the numbers, make it clear, concise, maybe even a little bit engaging.
So you're not just an accountant, you're a storyteller, in a way.
I like that. And then there's the decision-making aspect. RoleCatcher talks about critical thinking, analyzing data, seeing those trends, making those judgment calls that could affect an entire community.
Because sometimes those tough decisions have to be made, especially when resources are tight. It's about more than just balancing the books. It's about prioritizing needs, making those tough calls.
Absolutely. And the thing is, public finance, it's not static, it's always evolving, so continuous learning, that's non-negotiable.
You got to keep up with the times. What did RoleCatcher suggest? Back to school for advanced degrees.
Well, that's always an option.
Huh.
But they highlight professional certifications. A CPA is always impressive, but in this field, a CGFM holds a lot of weight.
That's a certified government financial manager, right?
That's the one. Shows you're serious about public finance. Or if you're interested in audits, there's the CGAP.
So many acronyms. It's like learning a whole new language. But it sounds like those certifications, they open doors.
They do. But it's not all about formal education. Networking is huge. RoleCatcher suggests attending conferences, joining those professional organizations.
Meet your people, share those budget season war stories.
Exactly. And let's not forget, RoleCatcher isn't just about information, they're about action. That reverse matching system is a game changer.
Right. Instead of endlessly searching for jobs, employers come to you. Love that.
Talk about proactive career management. And speaking of proactive, their interview prep resources are phenomenal. Over 120,000 practice questions, even AI-powered feedback on video practice sessions.
Okay, that's cool, like having a personal coach in your pocket.
Right. And they even offer insights into what interviewers might ask. One that stood out to me: how do you handle competing priorities and deadlines?
Oof, that's a tough one. Definitely makes you think on your feet.
It gets to the heart of what it takes to succeed in this field.
It's so much more than just numbers, isn't it? It's communication, strategic thinking, resilience, a lot to consider for anyone drawn to the world of public finance.
It is. But the impact, knowing you're helping to manage funds that support essential services, that's powerful.
And that, I think, is a perfect note to end on. The world of public finance.
Yeah.
Challenging, complex, but ultimately incredibly rewarding.